vital in the regulation of all of this chemistry. And I think I mentioned the other day that no reaction occurs in your body that uncatalyzed. They are all catalyzed because the rate, we're so dependent upon rate. So is that okay? It's kind of like an overview, kind of just restating some things that we probably talked about on Friday, kind of formalizing it in a way. Now that core metabolism is called cellular respiration. And the purpose, if you will, I guess, of cellular respiration, or the driving pressure that led to the evolution of cellular respiration, had to do with producing a usable form of energy. And remember, with the second law of thermodynamics, anytime you transfer energy, you have to lose some as heat. That amount you have to lose as heat goes up depending upon how much energy you're transferring. Like if in a big step of, like if we blew up glucose and released all of a sudden 686 kilocalories of energy with that, now one simple step, the amount of heat that would be lost to that is huge. And in fact, for our cells, do you think that it's important that we regulate temperature? Yeah. So do we want to have a lot of heat being released all the time? No. So we need to do it in really small amounts. So why do you use ATP for energy instead of some other molecule? Is because the catabolism of ATP releases enough energy to do some work. It's about 7.3, 7.4 kcals per mole without heating cells up too much. So small steps, the reason we do so many steps instead of single steps has to do with that energetics, that fact that we don't want to get too hot. Okay? Now, out there in the world, there are organisms that can do two very different kinds of respiration. Well, they're not very different, but they're different. Okay? And these two types of respiration that we do either occur in the presence of oxygen or in the absence of oxygen. So for cellular respiration, cellular respiration is the mechanism by which cells take complex organic compounds, extract energy from them, and then use that energy to produce ATP. So keep that in mind. That's always the pattern. Break down a complex organic compound, that's exergonic. You break it down, right? The energy that's released from that catabolism of sugar, if you will, is then used to drive the synthesis of ATP. Reverse that reaction that's shown on the board there. Okay? Now, the most efficient ones, and this is what we kind of focused on before, the most efficient would be the complete combustion or complete oxidation, if you will, of glucose into carbon dioxide and water. So we mentioned that if mentioned that if you do that complete combustion, that's combustion, right? That's what it is. Burning it, right? The complete combustion of glucose into carbon dioxide and water is highly exergonic, and it releases quite a bit of energy, and we use that energy to drive the synthesis of ATP. But what you'll see right here is that what we're using is oxygen. And this is, these processes, if we do this, right, this arrow represents a few things. It represents glycolysis, which we're going to go over today in living color. It includes a process called, and I'll just abbreviate it here, the citric acid cycle. And it includes a process called electron transport. I honestly can't remember what your book says, system, chain, doesn't matter. The electron transport system or chain. This process right here, the electron transport chain,
It's
is
freakishly
where you have the
complicated.
need for oxygen. And if you don't have oxygen, then you can't do the electron transport chain. If you can't do the electron transport chain, you can't do the citric acid cycle. This whole thing kind of stalls and backs up. Right? Now, what happens if you don't have oxygen? Can your cells live without oxygen? No. So you are, as an organism, an obligate, means you have to do it, an obligate aerobe. You have to do cellular respiration in the presence of oxygen. You have only one cell type in your body that is a facultative anaerobe. Now, facultative means they do it if they have to, right, or if they can. The only cells in your body that can do cellular respiration without oxygen are skeletal muscle cells. And they obviously prefer to use aerobic respiration because it's more efficient.